Hello, my friends. Welcome to the Tommy Podcast on English Every Day. My name is Tommy, and today we're starting a new series of episodes that I believe can really change the way you see English. Before we begin, let me tell you something. If you stay with me until the end, I have a little gift for you. A present. It's a PDF of today's episode with the phrases and expressions we're going to practice together. Quick, simple, something you can open anytime to review and refresh your memory. I'll tell you more at the end, okay? So, stay with me until the last minute. And thank you for pressing play once again. Yesterday, I was reading the comments, and I saw one from a listener named Pedro. He said, "Tommy, I always thought I needed an expensive course to really learn English. But then I started listening to your podcast and realized I can learn with you for free, every day." Pedro, my friend, thank you for that. And I think today's episode is exactly what you need. Oh, and before I forget, that shy little red button is still looking at you. Yes, the subscribe button. It's shy, waiting, whispering, "Click me, please. I want to shine." So if you haven't done it yet, go ahead and make that button happy. Subscribe. Now let's get into today's topic. For years, I believed a big lie. I thought the only way to become fluent in English was to pay for expensive courses, live abroad, or memorize heavy grammar books. Have you thought that too? Maybe you've told yourself, "I can't learn English because I don't have money. I can't because I never traveled. I can't because grammar is too hard." I thought the same. And because of that, I wasted years waiting for the perfect moment that never came. The perfect money, the perfect country, the perfect teacher. And during that time, my English stayed the same. Frozen, blocked, insecure. But then, something happened. A small moment, a simple conversation that changed everything. I was sitting in a cafe one afternoon. Next to me was a tourist. He looked at me and said, "Excuse me, do you know where the train station is?" I froze. I knew the words. I understood the question. But my brain started translating, checking grammar, overthinking. By the time I opened my mouth, he was already asking someone else. I felt terrible. I asked myself, why? I studied for so many years. I know the grammar. Why can't I just speak? And that's when I realized fluency doesn't come from rules. Fluency comes from practice, from using English as a tool, not as a puzzle. That day, I started an experiment. I told myself, what if I stop waiting for courses? Stop waiting for money? Stop waiting for the perfect opportunity. And just practice a little every day? Simple words, short sentences, small moments. It was like magic. After a few weeks, I noticed I was answering faster. I wasn't translating all the time. And one day, in another cafe, someone asked me, "Is this seat taken?" And I answered without thinking, "No, it's free." That was the moment I smiled and thought, this is fluency. Let's practice this little scene together. Imagine you're in a cafe. Someone looks at you and asks, "Is this seat taken?" Answer with me right now. "No, it's free." Say it again. "No, it's free." Simple, right? But that is fluency. No complicated grammar, no advanced vocabulary, just natural answers, in the moment. So here's the truth I want you to carry today. You don't need a big course. You don't need to move abroad. You don't need to wait. You just need to start, and start small. Fluency grows with daily practice, with short sentences, with speaking out loud every day. In this episode, I'll reveal the strategy that unlocked my English. The strategy that costs no money, doesn't require hours of grammar study, and doesn't depend on living in another country. It's such a simple strategy that for years I ignored it. Because we humans like to believe complicated things are better. But sometimes the simplest path is the strongest one. Curious? Great. Stay with me. And by the end, you'll not only know the strategy, but you'll also have that PDF with the key phrases to practice again. Remember, the gift is waiting for you at the end. So let's walk this journey together. I want to tell you about the moment when I discovered the strategy that changed everything. It didn't happen in a classroom, not in a textbook, not even during a study session. It happened on a bus. I was sitting there, listening to music, when two tourists started talking next to me. They were speaking English, laughing, using simple words. And something inside me said, "You know these words. You understand. Why not try to repeat them?" So, very quietly, I whispered to myself, copying their sentences. One of them said, "It's really hot today." And I whispered, "It's really hot today." He laughed and told his friend, "Yeah, I need some water." And I whispered, "Yeah, I need some water." I wasn't part of the conversation. They didn't even know I existed. But I was training. I was using my ears, my mouth, my memory. And I felt something shift inside me. For the first time, English wasn't a subject I had to study. It was a voice I could borrow, a rhythm I could imitate. That was the secret beginning, and here's what I realized. The strategy is shadowing. Repeating what you hear, almost like a shadow of the person speaking. No grammar books, no explanations, just copying. Simple, free. At first, I felt silly. Talking to myself on the bus? People probably thought I was crazy. But the truth is, this practice gave me more fluency in 2 weeks than 2 years of grammar exercises. Because I wasn't just learning English, I was using English. Let's try it together right now. I'll say a simple sentence. You repeat it out loud, wherever you are. Ready? I'm learning every day. Repeat with me. I'm learning every day. One more time. I'm learning every day. That's it. That's the strategy. Listen, repeat, live the language. I started doing this everywhere. On the street, I read English signs out loud. In movies, I paused and repeated the lines. On the radio, I copied the rhythm of the announcer. Sometimes, I didn't even know the meaning perfectly. But that didn't matter. What mattered was training. My brain to listen and speak without translating. And that's when I noticed something magical. My brain was changing. Before, I translated everything. Someone would ask me, "How are you?" And in my head, I'd think, "How am I?" "I'm fine." "Okay, I'm fine." Slow. Awkward. But after weeks of shadowing, I started to answer faster. It felt natural. My brain didn't have to stop and translate. It just spoke. Have you ever felt that frustration? Knowing the words, but your brain is too slow? That's what this strategy fixes. Because repetition creates speed, and speed creates confidence. I remember one time I was on my way to class, and a man stopped me to ask for directions. He said, "Excuse me, where is the library?" And without thinking, I answered, "Go straight and turn left." Simple, fast, clear. And then I smiled the whole way to school because I realized I didn't translate. I just spoke. So here's the secret. Strategy. Listen and repeat every day. No lists, no complex grammar rules, no waiting for a teacher. Just shadowing small sentences until they become part of you. Let's practice another one together. Imagine you're meeting someone new. You smile and say, "Nice to meet you." Repeat with me. "Nice to meet you." Again, with a smile, "Nice to meet you." That's how you train. That's how you build fluency. One short phrase at a time. I want to tell you about another experiment I did. For 1 week, I promised myself, no grammar books, no notes, no stress. Just listening and repeating for 10 minutes a day. That was it. And the results? At the end of the week, I felt more confident than ever. I started to think, maybe fluency is not about learning more. Maybe it's about using what you already know every day. And that's the strategy I want to share with you. Fluency doesn't come from money, from courses, or from living abroad. Fluency comes from using your voice, even when nobody hears. From repeating, even when you feel silly. From speaking out loud, even if your accent is strong. Because every time you say it, you're one step closer to making English natural. Let's close this block with one more phrase. Imagine you're on the phone and someone asks how you are. Repeat with me. "I'm great, thank you." Repeat. "I'm great, thank you." One more time. "I'm great, thank you." That's it. Feel it, enjoy it, and take it with you today. There's something I need to be honest about. When I discovered shadowing, it wasn't easy. In fact, the hardest part wasn't the English itself. It was me, my fear, my shame, my procrastination. Have you ever whispered English words and felt silly? I did. Sometimes I repeated a sentence and thought, this sounds ridiculous. People will laugh at me. And that thought almost made me stop. Not because the method didn't work, but because I didn't want to look strange. One day, I was on a train, repeating quietly. A woman sitting near me gave me a strange look. My face turned red. I wanted to stop. But then I asked myself, what's worse? Looking silly for 1 second, or staying silent for years? And that question gave me courage. I kept repeating. After a while, I noticed she wasn't even looking anymore. She didn't care. The truth is, people are too busy with their own lives to focus on us. That's the first obstacle. Fear of what others think. The solution is simple. Most of the time, nobody is watching. And even if they are, you're the one winning. The second obstacle was laziness. On some days, I didn't want to practice. I told myself, it's just 10 minutes. I'll do it tomorrow. But we know how that works. Tomorrow becomes the day after. And suddenly, a week is gone. That's when I learned another secret. Consistency is stronger than motivation. Motivation comes and goes. Consistency builds habits. I started to link my practice to things I already did. For example, every time I made coffee, I repeated one sentence out loud. Simple, automatic, no excuses. And little by little, it became part of my routine. Let's try that right now. Imagine you're making coffee. You hold the cup, smell the aroma, and say out loud, "Good morning." Repeat with me now. Good morning. Once more, this time with a smile. Good morning. That's it. Now, next time you make coffee, you'll remember this moment. The third obstacle was perfectionism. I wanted to say everything correctly. Perfect accent, perfect grammar. And because of that, I often stayed silent. But silence doesn't build fluency. Mistakes do. Every mistake is training for your brain. Every mistake is proof that you're trying. One day, I was practicing the phrase, "I'm learning every day." But I kept pronouncing learning wrong. It sounded heavy, strange. I repeated it about 20 times, and then, suddenly, I got it. My tongue relaxed. The sound came out naturally. And I thought, if I had stayed silent, waiting for perfection, I never would have reached this moment. So if you're listening now and you feel stuck because of mistakes, I want you to repeat this sentence with me. Mistakes help me learn. Say it again. Mistakes help me learn. One more time, out loud. Mistakes help me learn. This is not just a sentence. It's a mindset. These three obstacles, fear, laziness, perfectionism, are the same walls I faced. And maybe you do too. But the good news is that walls are not prisons. They are tests. And the secret is to keep moving, even slowly. I remember one night when I almost gave up. I was tired. The day was heavy, and my mind said, "Not today. Just sleep." But then I remembered that tourist in the cafe, the one who asked, "Is this seat taken?" And how I froze. I didn't want to be that version of myself again. So I forced myself to repeat just one sentence before bed. Just one. It was, "See you tomorrow." Simple. I whispered it, smiled, and went to sleep. That night, I felt proud. Because even with no energy, I chose to practice. And that choice kept the habit alive. Let's try that sentence together now. Imagine you're leaving a cafe and waving to a friend. Repeat with me, "See you tomorrow." Again, "See you tomorrow." That's how habits are built. Small repetitions, even on hard days. So if you feel stuck, if you feel fear, if you feel lazy, I want you to remember this. Fluency is not about talent. Fluency is not about being perfect. Fluency is about small choices, repeated daily. It's about whispering sentences even when you feel silly. It's about practicing even when you don't feel like it. It's about saying the wrong word until it becomes the right one. And here's the most beautiful part. Every time you choose to practice, you're not only learning English, you're learning discipline, courage, and resilience, skills that will take you far beyond the language itself. So keep walking with me, keep repeating, keep choosing. And in the next part, I'll show you how to turn this strategy into a daily system that fits your life. Something so small you won't even notice, but so powerful it will transform your English. Now we've walked together through the truth. Fluency doesn't come from money, expensive courses, or moving abroad. It comes from small daily exercises, from using your voice, from repeating out loud, even when you feel silly, from whispering words until they become part of you. But I know what you're thinking. How do I make this real in my life? Because knowing the strategy is not enough. You need a system, a routine, a way to include it in your daily rhythm. The beauty of this is that you don't need hours. You don't need perfect conditions. You just need a trigger, something that reminds you, this is the moment to practice. For me, it was coffee. Every time I made coffee, I repeated one English sentence. For you, maybe it's brushing your teeth, maybe waiting for the bus, maybe washing the dishes. Link your English to something you already do, and it will become automatic. Let's practice a phrase you can use right after brushing your teeth. Look in the mirror, smile, and say, I'm ready for today. Repeat with me, I'm ready for today. One more time. Louder this time. I'm ready for today. Imagine starting your morning with that energy in English. That's how you bring the language into your real life. Here's another idea. When you go to bed at night, repeat one sentence before sleeping. It could be, I did my best today. Repeat with me now. I did my best today. That way, even your last thought of the day becomes practice. And here's my challenge for you this week. Choose 2 small moments in your day. One in the morning, one at night. Connect each moment with one English sentence. Practice it every day, out loud, even if it feels silly, even if you're tired. Just one sentence. That's it, because consistency is more important than perfection. You don't need to learn 100 words a day. You need to repeat one sentence for 100 days. That's how fluency grows. Now let me remind you of the gift I promised at the beginning. Remember? If you stayed with me until the end, you deserve it. Today's PDF. Inside, I put the key sentences from this episode. I choose to get up. I'm learning every day. Nice to meet you. I'm great. Thank you. And more. Simple phrases you can repeat anytime, anywhere. Open the PDF, read them out loud, and use them with your daily triggers. That's your free tool, your gift to keep practicing even when I'm not here in your ear. And before we finish, let me ask you something. Leave a comment and tell me which phrase you repeated today. Which one was your favorite? Which one will you use this week? I love reading your stories, and your words inspire me to keep recording for you. So let's end with the truth I want you to carry. You don't need money. You don't need a perfect plan. You don't need permission. You only need your voice, your choice, and your consistency. Fluency is not far away. It starts today, with one sentence spoken out loud. And that's how we close another cozy talk. But don't worry. Tomorrow, there's more. In the meantime, grab the PDF in the first pinned link. Speak the phrases out loud, and meet me here again. I'm Tommy Podcast, from English Every Day. Bye-bye.